Diptyque Laurent is back with us here in the studio for another look through the papers for you at this hour. And Dipty, we're starting with reactions to Gordon Sondland, the US ambassador to the EU's testimony at Donald Trump's impeachment hearing on Capitol Hill on Wednesday.
That's right. Sondland implicated pretty much everyone in the White House in his testimony yesterday, saying he followed express orders to wage a pressure campaign on the Ukrainian president in exchange for gathering dirt on Donald Trump's presidential rival, Joe Biden. The reaction from the press is perhaps best summed up by this cartoon by Lalo Alcaraz. The Sondland bus lines is leaving. Everyone get under the bus. That's what the Twitter caption for this cartoon says.
And Dipty, what are the opinion pages saying about all this? Well,
in its editorial today, the New York Times is wondering why the White House is refusing to let other key players like the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney from testifying. While Americans should not be distracted by the, quote, Republican smoke bombs, they shouldn't be satisfied either with a truncated inquiry into a question as consequential as whether Donald Trump should leave office. Now, from the Wall Street Journal, the conservative business newspaper, well, they're really doubling down on their view that Donald Trump has not committed an impeachable offense. Sondland's testimony, they say, tell us more about what we already knew, but nothing changes the fundamental narrative or suggests crimes or impeachable offenses.
Now, staying with this story, a picture of Donald Trump's notes has now gone viral.
That's right, and it spawned a lot of memes, which I'll get to in a minute. Donald Trump was addressing the press after Sondland's testimony yesterday when this photographer, Mark Lewis, grabbed the snap of his handwritten notes, scrawled in what looks like a Sharpie marker. His prepared statement denying any wrongdoing included, I want nothing written twice, and the Ukrainian president's surname misspelt. Users likening this to the high school movie Mean Girls. Some have turned his lyrics into song. Others see it as a great ad for Sharpie markers. While one user has said it's actually him when he turns up to a rap battle with his notes prepared.
OK, let's move on now. A former British consulate worker, his claims of torture by Chinese police has sparked a diplomatic row.
Well, it prompted the British ambassador to China to be summoned this week after Simon Chang's detailed post on Facebook and then in a TV interview about being tortured. So all of this allegedly dates back to August, where he was detained for 15 days after visiting the city of Shenzhen. Chang says it's a very detailed account of what he endured. He said he was beaten, blindfolded and shackled during this time as police wanted to interrogate him about the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong. China says he actually broke the law because he paid for sex, but they're denying that any of this actually took place.
Now, the British papers, the front pages there are splashed, of course, with this story from Buckingham Palace that Prince Andrew has decided to step down from his royal duties.
That's right. It comes after mounting controversy over his close relationship with the convicted pedophile and late billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. Earlier this week, the Duke of York was slammed for his perceived lack of empathy towards Epstein's victims in a televised interview. I'm sorry, Mummy, that's what the Daily Mirror says rather sarcastically on its front page, noting that the groveling prince will quit royal life and lose his £250,000 yearly allowance. But there's not really a lot of sympathy in the papers for the Duke of York. Take a listen to the Daily Mirror's royal editor reacting to his decision to stand down.
Absolutely breathtaking, jaw-dropping. I mean, we've run out of words to describe it, really. It was just an absolute car crash from start to finish. The faux levels of surprise he was giving, the answers surrounding his relationship with Epstein were mostly unbelievable. The descriptions of the times that he spent with him were absolutely ridiculous. And he has no one to blame but himself here. There are just so many instances of just horrific advice that he's taken, and he's got no one to blame but himself.
Well, finally, for this press review, we're staying with the UK, and the Oxford Dictionary has released its 2019 word or words of the year.
Yeah, or phrase of the year, you might say. Climate emergency, that is the word of 2019, according to Oxford Dictionary. It has seen, the dictionary organizers say, it has seen a 100-fold increase in usage in the last 12 months. The phrase basically soaring from relative obscurity to to the most prominently used words of the year, Thomas, evolving from climate change. It reflects the urgency with which environmental issues are being discussed. Worth noting that last year's word of the year was youthquake. You might say it's sort of a continuation of that. Indeed, young people have helped propel climate emergency to the forefront of our social and political conscience.
Okay, Diptyque Laurent with the press review. Thank you very much.